Hi folks, and welcome to tutorial number 2 in the series Coding in the Classroom. In this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to create student accounts and monitor student progress within code.org. So we'll start by signing into our teacher accounts through the code.org homepage. So we'll simply type in code.org, and once on the code.org homepage we will select sign in. We'll sign in with our SD91 password, email, and the password we created for our code.org account. Once on our teacher homepage, we will select Student Accounts in Progress, and then select to create a new section. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to call the section Block 1. I encourage you to put a little bit of thought into your section name, as this section name will appear on the student login page. We're going to opt for the word login type, so code.org will automatically generate a password that contains 2 words for each of your students that you create. We'll select the grade and the course. I'm going to select Computer Science Fundamentals, Course 2. In our conversations and collaboration with many of the elementary schools in the district, I think we've come to the decision to start our students with Course 2. I do, however, encourage you to collaborate with the other teachers in the building who may be using code.org so that you can essentially come to an agreement on the sequence through which students will proceed through the code.org courses. I'm going to select the stage extras. So what the stage extra looks like is, as students finish each stage within their course, this little prompt will come up. So it says, ask your teacher what to do next. It'll either direct the student to a new drawing, a new app, or encourage them to reopen one of their existing projects. They can also choose to go on to the next stage. What the stage extra does is it tries to encourage students to kind of stay at the same pace. So if you want your students to be staying all together and proceeding through the course at the same pace, I would definitely select the stage extras. It does still allow, even with selecting the stage extras, it does still allow students to proceed on to the next stage if you have some students that are really needing to go rapidly through the courses. I'm then going to press save. And you'll see that you are assigned a section code. So every section that you create will be assigned a 6-character section code. And the section code can always be accessed through your teacher homepage. It allows students to log into the section. It allows you to move students between sections. So it's a fairly important code to kind of keep track of. We're then going to go to Manage Students. And we can add multiple students, so you can add 1 student at a time, or you can add multiple students at a time. So if, for example, you had a document that already had all of your student names, you could copy those names right into here. I'm going to just quickly type in a couple of names, and you'll notice that at the advice of code.org's privacy policy, I'm using first names only, and you just enter 1 name per line. I'm also going to add a test 1 and a test 2 at the end. So these test 1 and test 2 students are pretend students. They're going to allow me to go into code.org as a student, to play with it from the student perspective, and then to see how teachers can monitor their progress. So I really like having a test 1 and a test 2 so that I don't mess up any of my real students' account as I'm kind of playing with things and exploring code.org. So you can then press done. Code.org is currently updating their protection and their security. So you will be required to put in the student's age, and if you do not at this stage, students will be prompted to enter their age when they enter their account for the first time. So I would probably recommend just entering their age for them now, and then that prompt won't come up when they enter their account for the first time. You do not need to enter their gender. That will not be required. So you can then press Save All. And you can see that each student is given a 2-word password. I'm just going to bring up my test 1 and my test 2. You can edit student profiles at any time, and you can also remove students from a class or a section. If you wanted to delete an entire section, you need to remove all of the students first, and then it'll ask you if you would like to delete that section as well. Hey, you can select to print out the cards with the student's login information. So my recommendation would be making 2 copies. I like to make 2 copies. I have them laminated and I cut them out. So each student gets their little card, their login card, and then I keep a copy in a file folder in my classroom so that it's always accessible as well. From this page, you can also see that you can move students. So this is kind of interesting. If you select Move Students, if you had more than one section, you could move students from one of your sections into another section. But note that students can only be in one section for each teacher at a time. You can also move students to another teacher. So if you had the 6-character course code for another teacher, you could enter it here. And then you have the option of, yes, I want to copy students to be in this current section and the new section. So a student can actually belong to 2 teachers at once. Or no, I want to move students to be in the new section only. So that'll be, I think this will be particularly important at the end of the year, say as students are progressing from a grade 6 class to a grade 7 class. Okay, you'll also find that you have the link or the URL to the student login page. This is the URL that students will need to enter when they first log in to their course. As a teacher, what we'd like to do now is we'd like to go in and explore the course from the student perspective. So rather than opening it through this particular browser, I'm using Microsoft Edge right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL. And I'm actually going to open another web browser and enter the course from or as a student. So again, I'm going to open a different web browser and enter the course from the student. What I've found is if you try to act as a teacher and a student in the same web browser, Code.org gets a little cranky and ends up kicking you out of one of those accounts. So if you open it in a different web browser, then you can switch back and forth between the different views, which can be really useful when you're exploring the setup of Code.org. So I'm going to open now Internet Explorer, and I'm going to copy in this URL. So students the first time will have to type the URL in, which I don't think has been too much of an inconvenience. And this is what students will see then when they first go to log into their course. What I would do is once students are on this page, encourage them to save this page to their favorites. So hit the star, add to favorites. Oh. Okay, so now I'm going to enter as, say, test 1, so student test 1. And if I return, which is really cool, I can return to my teacher and I see that test 1, it was although drawing was the secret words. Okay, what's neat is for this particular demo, I'm going to say that test 1 has a partner at the computer with him or her. And it's going to prompt me to say, who's my partner? Well, I'm going to say test 2 is my partner. So now you'll notice that it says, hi team, and I have driver as test 1 and navigator as test 2. I'm going to play a little bit and pretend that I'm a student proceeding through this course. So the first thing I would do is I would watch the unplugged video. So I would watch the little video, work through the unplugged activity with my teacher. And then once I'd watched the little video, I would proceed with my partner to the assessment. So here it's wanting to show the code for this particular drawing. So I know that I would have to shade in first, move over 2 blocks, shade in, move down 2 blocks, shade in, and so on and so forth. I'm going to press submit. Yay, I got it correct. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch from the student account back to my Microsoft Edge browser into my teacher account. I'm going to go and check out what that progress looks like. So if you select the progress and hit the little plus sign, what you'll notice is that it's tracking both test 1 and test 2 because they're working together on one computer. They've done the unplugged activity in the video. they've worked through that first assessment piece, and then they'll be ready for the next assessment piece. Here's the little code again on the bottom that we talked about in the last video. So what's really neat about a cloud-based technology is that the tracking is live and very, very current. Okay. If you had students working in other courses, you could simply select the course. So for example, maybe some of your students were working in course 4. You could load that and you could see that, oh, William had maybe started course 4. Okay, and he is so far in it. Okay. I'll just return to course 2. The text responses and the assessment surveys, those are for different courses. So for the course 1 or course 1 to 4, you won't actually have any text responses or assessment surveys. Under the stats, it simply shows you the completed number of levels and the lines of code. So we actually haven't had our test 1 and test 2 actually haven't completed any code yet, but once they do, it'll start tracking it there. And then you can always return also to the managed students. So you can edit their profiles or you can remove them completely from the course. Again, if you want to delete the section, then you need to remove all of the students first, and then it'll prompt you to delete that particular section. Okay. The last little tidbit of advice that I would like to give in this video is when you look at your secret words, just have a quick scan through them before you hand them out to students. I had one incident where the word combination was a little bit inappropriate, just randomly inappropriate. So just check through them, make sure they're okay before you hand them out to students to prevent any hurt feelings. Okay, I think that's it. Once you're done exploring, make sure that you sign out of both your teacher account and then head back into that pretend student account, so your test 1 or test 2, and sign out of there as well for good practice. If you have any questions on your creating your student accounts, please let me know. You can drop me an email or chat with me on Yammer. Thanks. Bye.